Oh my gosh, I've been talking for a bit. Hello, I'm back. Let's work. Just straight to the point, because I think we are done with everything. We just need to do the scars, which is this golden effect. Okay, so first of all, what I need to do is just take off this the color, this lighting, and just stay with the scars and the other side of it. So we go in the golden layer, which is this one. Okay, so it's basically recolor it now, and I'm gonna check out with some guidance later on about all of this. But yeah, well, hello and welcome to another stream. I'll be just preparing everything for now. I'm gonna share it here on social and on social media.
I'll never forget.
The little fox. Who's that little fox? But yeah, if anyone wonders, well, here I am. Let's finish with this. Let's finish this map part. Yippee. I'm not really a person that gets ready often. So yeah, I'm just improvising at this point. I'm just doing what I have to. I'm just gonna share it with you. Wow, where are you going? Krita, don't move. Krita, behave. Come on, there you go. Okay, so everything's cool there. This is really a large thing. Don't need as much. There you go. So that's pretty cool, pretty cool. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, so hello guys, to anyone just coming up here, welcome to the stream. We're gonna be working on a really complex effect of blurring, which is nothing more than color the same thing over and over again and just blur it over and over again. So yeah, there you go. If you ever wonder how I did this, well, here's the stream. Hello, Hope. How are you doing? Hey, I'm not late this time. Let's go. Yes. We're just starting. And it was really unconscious because I was like, wow, I'm so punctual, like at 4 p.m. That's great. So yeah, now I have clean clothes, clean room, clean everything, and I'm so happy with that. I think organizing my life has been the best. And I slept and I ate, and that was perfect. My breaking days are literally a reset and an opportunity for me to end everything that I want, so I'm not gonna risk it. I'm just gonna do it. So yeah, I'm trying to find out where's my stream. Where are you? Who are you really? Okay, no, that's another story. But yeah, if you listen to some sounds in the background, which I hope you don't, it's probably people just building outside, and I really, really, really wanna, at the end of, I don't know, at some point, just buy them some bread with coffee so they can have a really good dinner. There are builders that are just helping us to like expand a part of our home. And yeah, we call them in Mexico maíz because they're the maestros, which are teachers in Spanish. But yeah, they're the mice. It's really a complex story because not really everybody in Mexico calls them like that. Oh, right. I'm trying to find out. What the hell? Okay, Instagram has now a lot of things that I don't really get. We're going up, up, up. Okay, so go and freaking come to the stream. Let's go. I do love this song now. We're going up, up, up. So I really love that. There you go. Now everybody on Instagram knows it. Let's go. Oh my gosh, who's this girl? Okay, cool. I just found an artist I really like. It's a singer. I was like, wait, aren't you like older now? Or are you here on my page? Hello, baby! Hello, everybody. Hello, 𝘨𝘚𝘀. Perfect timing. I'm also about to work on some projects. That's amazing. You're more than welcome to stay. And I'll try to find a way. You'll let me know if like the audio is fine, like if the music is too loud or is too low. You let me know, okay? I'm gonna try it in a bit. But also, I will not be using headphones because my head really hurts. So, no. Hi again, hi again. Yeah. That's really cool. Go and do your stuff while I'm doing mine. Actually, this is gonna be more like an educational moment for both of us because I found this video from 𝘁𝘕notebook. I don't know if you know him, but I do recommend him a lot. So yeah, we're gonna be listening to random stuff more based on education, stuff like that. So yeah, let's see. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna take out the chat and put it aside. Yep. Come here, chat. Come here, people. And I'm just gonna use this one right here. Okay, that's really cool. Why do I have Discord open? Why do I have Discord open? Okay. I think I won't need it. I'm only working with this, so... Yeah, it seems like even the project is really dead. And I must find a way to just communicate with the hoster. But everything in due time. For now, I don't need it, so let's leave Discord for now. Okay, so here we have this part of the stream. Now I can see you, all your messages, the stream itself, and let's go. So you're gonna be part of what is my daily routine, just working here, and well, we can analyze the stuff. So let's
study for 10 hours straight without really using my phone. And basically you just have to follow my 3 simple steps that I've always implemented whenever I do a long study day. Runners call it LSD, I call it LSD, you know, long studies day. And in this video, I want to share with you guys the 3 simple steps that I think everyone should follow when you study if you want to stop using your phone and having a long study session. Because let's face it, it just sucks being that loop of, you know, using your phone until the very last minute and then you're just forced to cram everything that you're studying. Like, I've been in that loop for so long now, but recently after taking the 3-step method, I have been studying without my phone very consistently. So in this video, I'll be teaching you guys how to break out of that loop exactly. So the first step, or step 0 in this case, in order to overcome this addiction of using your phone while studying, is to first understand why we use our phone and to sort of recognize this pattern so that next time when you notice this pattern, you'll at least be able to be self-aware enough for you to take action from it. Basically, think of this initial step as to build that awareness so that once you've noticed yourself doing that habit, you will kind of already know what to do next. So you need to think about our phones. Using our phones is actually a way of our body's mechanism to actually avoid pain or to basically access a dopaminergic reward without much effort given into it. As compared to studying, studying is a more tedious task. It's not that fun, and it doesn't necessarily give an instant gratification reward, which is why our brain tends to lean towards using our phones a lot more, because it's easy. You get dopamine without that much work, so your brain's like, why the heck will I have to study then? I just have to use my phone and we'll be happy, we'll be Gucci. So in other words, you need to understand that your body is basically just not used to feeling uncomfortable when studying. You have resorted to using your phone so long now that your brain is just used to that access of dopamine, so that when you're studying, it doesn't know what to do anymore, because it's like, okay, oh god, I feel uncomfortable right now. And it has resorted to using your phone as a way to cope with whatever negative feelings that you have. And those negative feelings can be negative feelings of not wanting to study, of feeling stressed while studying, or not wanting to go through the hardship of studying itself. The first thing that you literally need to do when you just notice that you're starting to drift off into this doom scrolling
The
state
fucking
because
face
of the
I
way your
hate
body
it.
is trying to avoid negative emotions, is to just notice that. You need to first notice that your body is craving some sort of instant fix to your negative
There you go.
emotions. So once you've noticed it, how can we make sure that doesn't happen again? Well, that brings me to step number one. You need to create a physical barrier. Your goal is to make it as easy as it is for your brain to not fall into the doom scrolling state, because it is much more efficient to just alter your physical environment rather than creating this mental fortitude of discipline to avoid using your phone. Like, trust me, literally, it is a million times harder just to tell yourself that I'm gonna be disciplined, I'm gonna not use my phone, I'm gonna monk mode. Like, it is so much easier to just create a better environment for yourself, which in this case, you just literally have to put your phone away. Like, literally just set your phone somewhere else and put it on a do not disturb mode. Literally, it is that simple. You don't need any mental technique. You don't need, like, oh, I'm gonna meditate 30 hours. No, you don't need to. Just stop making your life harder by forcing yourself to build discipline, and rather take advantage of your environment by modifying it yourself. You can modify your environment right there. Why not do that? Now, the thing is, a lot of students typically have a hard time putting their phone in do not disturb mode or putting it out of reach, because our lives are just so tied to our phones. I mean, it makes sense. I understand. I have a lot of friends online. I want to keep tabs on what's happening. I want to chat with my friends. I want to send them memes. I have family members who could message me at any time. Maybe my delivery will come at any time. So the one thing that you will really have to learn if you want to take it seriously, and if you really want to study for long periods of time, is that a couple hours a day of you just locking in without any communication with your friends or family, whatever, you're gonna be fine. You're not gonna ruin your life by cutting communication for a few hours a day for you to focus on what truly matters, which is studying. You're gonna be fine. So trust me when I say you will not do any harm if you set up your phone into do not disturb mode and putting it away out of your reach for a couple hours. Trust me, you're gonna be fine. I know it's very uncomfortable for people to do, but trust me, it's not a big deal. The moment you are done with your study session, you will realize that disappearing for a couple hours doesn't really affect your relationships or your life that much, as opposed to, what you originally thought it would. Alright, moving on to method number 2. Another method is to use Pomodoro timer. I really like to use Pomodoro timer apps. If you don't want to put your phone away, I recommend using a Pomodoro timer app. Bonus points if the Pomodoro timer app can lock your phone away while the timer is active. Now, if you guys don't know, a Pomodoro timer app essentially is an app that has a built-in timer and has a break timer for you to have a focused study session as well. It has time breaks and time focused study sessions. And the really useful feature about Pomodoro timer apps is that a lot of the apps typically lock your phone away, which forces you to just start working on whatever you need to be working on. There are even some apps out there that literally lock the apps on your phone. So every time you open your phone and you have to click on the app, it will not let you use those apps, which is, my opinion, a very good physical barrier that you can set up between you and the apps on your phone if you don't want to put your phone away. But 2 apps I recommend is Forest and Focus Flight. Now, the first app, Forest, is this app that allows you to plan.
So I've been in that part, to be honest. I know about Forest and I know about the Pomodoro technique. And down to my experience, I would say it was good. I actually tried that out before, I think, making the line art of this animation, the Pomodoro technique with Silk song background, like soundtrack stuff. And it worked. It actually really worked for me. The only bad thing is that I am a person that is used to work for hours, so I don't respect my time of actually taking breaks. That's my huge problem. It's like until I finish it, I will not take a break, even if it is just to drink water or making something similar to just a stretch. I don't do that. I just go straight forward just for the actual job or the work that I'm doing at the moment. And that's not only the thing that happens, but I've seen that this is a normal Japanese thing. Like, they tend to really overwork themselves a lot, and that's why we see a lot of animators that are exhausted. And I had to learn it the bad way that we can actually have time, even though we don't see it at first. So with that being said, yes, it works the Pomodoro technique, but if you actually have a work that requires you to take more hours than what you expect, I recommend you making it more like an hour of work and then like 30 minutes of a good break, such as eating your meals or cleaning your room, stretching out, or even making yoga. That's okay. But also, if you have like a training session, respect your training session and every each thing that you have to do. Otherwise, you will not really be able to finish anything. And that was a huge mistake of mine. Friends, yes, I love to be with my friends. I really do have to socialize itself with them. But like everything, if it is an excession, I really hate it. I am not a person that likes to be with them 24/7. And that's valid, and that's pretty valid. It also happens with me in my relationship. There are times that I don't really want to even think about love itself. I just want to rest. I don't want to even think about anything at all, and we have our times. So yeah, I think little messages that we give us are so cute that we just remind ourselves that we are loved, but also that we just carry a weight together even though it doesn't look like it. And that's, I believe, the strongest habit that we have. But yeah, for example, I mean, right now I just finished coloring all of this when actually it would have taken me so much more before, you know. But yeah, I would say it works, but the sad truth about this is only works when you have a really good schedule of your time and when you don't really have to stress about your actual time, or when you have the whole day to work on it. But if you're like me that doesn't really have more than just like probably 8 or 6 hours of the day to work on this stuff and barely one or a couple of days of freedom, yeah, you need just to be really conscious about what you do in your day before even acting. And that's why so many indie projects really falls apart, because we all have different times. And unless you really, what is this called? Like, wait a second. Okay, a little sip to my coffee. Yes, I know I said I didn't drink coffee, but now I only drink a really decaffeine coffee. I don't know how to call it. So I don't overstimulate myself. But yeah, so the thing is, if these people in a project doesn't know or values the time of others, probably it's gonna just not gonna work. And you have to always be so communicative, especially when it comes at distance. When there isn't an office, there is more pressure physically, but there's also a physical pressure in the actual schedule of every each person. And sometimes they do skip meals, they do skip the actual living part of life and the working itself. So it really depends on what type of person you want to be, because I've been really surrounded by the type of people that only gives this excuses to everything and really just lies about themselves a lot, and that's really sad. I recommend you get stepping away from them. It really changes your life. So yeah, let's go and continue with this video. We're at half of it. Forest is a really cool one. It seems like it supports certain quality things, or like you support nature with this one, but it basically limits your time, limits your phone, so you can grow a tree, and that actual support is given to real forestation like activities, I believe. But it's been a while. It's been like 5 years since I actually used that app. And I stopped doing that because, well, I'm not really 24/7 now studying, but it works with everything. It actually does.
Trees based on the amount of time that you studied. I don't know, which is really cool because it shows you some sort of visual of how much you've studied, basically showing you how many trees you've planted. And it also has this really cool feature where it actually locks your phone while the timer is active, forcing you to pretty much do whatever you need to do. Another app that I'm talking about, and it's actually what I'm currently using right now, is Focus Flight. I saw this app on TikTok and I kind of thought it was a really cool app, and I tried it, and holy crap, it is such a clever app. Basically, it's a Pomodoro timer app as well that kind of mimics an airplane flight. So you basically book a ticket and you book to another airport or to another country, and it will mimic the time it takes for you to get to that country. And while you're on the way to the country, that's when the timer is active. This is what it looks like. So basically, you can pick whatever like country you want to fly to. Pretty much, it will start a timer, and you can, even have a ticket and everything. It's just so cool. It shows a map of your airplane, and it pretty much travels through the earth while you're studying, so you could have that displayed while you're studying, which is pretty cool. Even has feature where you could have this white noise playing in the background as if it was an actual real airplane, and that also helps with studying as well. Although the one con that I would say with this app is that it's paid and it's quite expensive, really. Like, honestly, if I were you, you could just use a regular website, or you could just download Forest. It's free. If you want to pay for it, then by all means. But again, I don't really recommend it if you're tight on money. So yeah, there's that. And finally, the last step is to take breaks. I know this is generic. It's generic, but
the hardest part for me.
A lot of people tell you to take breaks because it works. It works. It works so well. As much as I tell people that I'm able to study for a long time, I want you to take breaks. I want to tell you that taking breaks is an actual crucial step for me. For those long study sessions, your brain can handle only so much information until it starts drifting off. And typically,
it's
for
so
me, that's
hard.
around 60 to 90 minutes, which by then I will usually start taking a 15-minute break. Now, the problem is most people assume that a break means you can do whatever you want, which is, playing phones, playing Block Blast, I don't know, watching TikTok. And this is where a lot of people make a big mistake.
It is not true.
Engaging in an activity that breaks this focus state by introducing a cheap source of dopamine. So the third step, and the probably most underrated step, or probably the biggest change, is to essentially take real breaks. And by real breaks, I mean genuine cool-offs that don't involve stimulation, that don't involve any dopamine from your phone, whether that be journaling, reading a book, or just pacing around your room for a couple minutes, like 10 minutes. That is enough for a break. You can trust me when I say that every time I open my phone and I start engaging in some activity while I'm in my long study session, it really breaks my sense of flow. It really ruins my study flow. And trust me when I say it's very crucial to maintain that flow throughout your study session. So as much as possible, I want you to avoid the breaks that include dopaminergic activities. In order for you to study for a long time, you need to set your focus level straight. It has to be level throughout the day rather than spiking up, down, here, and there. Your focus flow has to be stable. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It is a new year. It is 2020.
Well, thank you, Kai. Oh my. This guy here, I met him when he just studied even high school, I believe, and when he moved to Thailand to study, was this? Dental medicine, I suppose it's the name. But yeah, he started to study with that. I have a lot of influences down to scientists itself more than artists. And the ones that are artists normally are from rather Harvard or something really high up. So yeah, that's really amazing. That's my other side of the whole thing. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy to actually watch and listen to all of these people. If you have any interest to listen, like, I don't know, any theme, just let me know. Because, yeah, I mean, I'm streaming and I would love to share it with you. But, yeah, maybe this whole educational thing is the only reason why I don't lose my mind. This is the only part of my life where I'm just like, oh, well, that actually sounds easy, so let's do it this way. Because when I go with therapists or family members or friends, it's like, they're always like, just do your work. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, but tell me more about methods. Tell me more about like any kind of plans that would be cool for me and give me ideas, you know? But nah, that seems like not everybody knows. And this book of The Mountain Is You, I really want to read it so badly. I already read the, what is this? Atomic Habits, Punishment and Crime, which has nothing to do with the other one. By the way, it was a really stressful book. I don't like it as much. I don't love it, but there are some little sentences that I actually enjoyed of Punishment and Crime and Punishment, sorry. The Club of 5 a.m., that's another one. The 48 Laws of Power. That's a really interesting and big book. I haven't really read it completely. I am still studying it because it's a huge book. And I finished some other Dostoevsky little, like, actual tales. And there is one that I really need to read also, which is like The Millionaire Mind, which is nothing more than my mindset, actually, now that I think about it. I read that book and I was like, oh, maybe there's something new about life that I need to understand. No. No, actually, no. There are so many things that I already know, things that I already can control over my life that has nothing to do with the external or the actual way of being of any kind of industry. So let me just be honest with you. You don't really need to worry about that in life. So let's see. What if all works out? This is a video that he decided. What did he? What dedicated one of his podcast video to ADHD? It could be. Let me see. Maybe he did, but I never saw that. Let me see. But yeah, ADHD is another theme. The good thing about the Pomodoro technique with ADHD is that we actually tend to copy that mechanism of habit of having like 30 minutes so concentrated and then having like 15 or 20 minutes of break. And that's really, really cool. Kai notebook and ADHD. Let me see. Studying how I drink. No, he talks more about like methods of studying itself and like finding the fundamentals of it, but no, he hasn't talked about ADHD. So let's see. I think anybody can really find their own selves and just be like, you know what, I have this symptom or this mindset and I can just adapt to myself. So we're gonna check that out later. That will be really interesting. That will be really interesting to know more about how to work with ADHD. Maybe, yeah, maybe this times of break are the only importance for our ADHD. So yeah, so let me just share with you a little bit about that I've learned with my professors. So the thing is, I think the majority of us really has ADHD or autism at a certain point. And well, that's fair. But the issue with ADHD is that we tend to overwork or over not do anything at all. We're extremists. So we need to find a balance of when to not do nothing and when to do everything. So that's why we might be a little bit dramatic. So yeah, what they have told me more is that you can do whatever you want as much as you feel good about it, but the lie in that part is that we tend to procrastinate because we cannot do it perfectly, when in reality we tend to make everything perfect. And that's another thing. Perfection really lies into the idea that everything's already perfect. It's already perfect for you. And I think people or teachers haven't really taught us exactly that way. They always tells us not everything's perfect, not everything's complete, and no one really tells you that's the beauty of having something imperfect, that it's already perfect. It's quite a paraphrasis of life, but at this point is, for me, the only way to go, because I always try to find that perfection. In reality, you cannot really find that. It's not like that. So by accepting this, with this symptoms of overworking or over procrastinating, you always find a balance, saying, you know what, it doesn't matter exactly what we would do. We will find a way to resolve this and the outcome. And I believe this is more a mindset that you can use in general ways. It's not always just for neurodivergent people. Neurodivergency, what it gives you at the end is the actual value of doing anything that you put your mind into. You're normally reckless, you're normally a little bit thoughtful in the way of doing your stuff, that you don't really recognize that you're doing everything you need to do at the moment, and that's the whole secret about everything, which is nothing. I know, I'm really deep in my thoughts, but I've been finding ways to solve my problems that are quite stupid. Normally, problems that we find in ourselves are just illusions and fears that we don't really need to believe because they don't really exist. And even though they would, there's always an answer for any question, any problem, and any kind of way of living. And of course, it's not easy, but it's also not impossible. Nothing is impossible, and there's always a way, which so many people tend to misunderstand, that if there is a way, then why can I not see it? Well, that's the secret, my dear people. You will never be able to see the outcome of anything. You will never really be able to have for certain anything. The only have you have certain is your present. And if your present relies into the things you desire to have and somehow it happens, then you need to trust that everything in front of it will just work out. If you just put the effort that you did with a tiny little thing, then you will just do the same with anything that you put your mind into. It's just logic, but at the same time, it's really hard to clean your mind. So I think the most important question when it comes to ask ourselves as neurodivergent people, how can we concentrate when we just don't want to? And the truth is, one thing goes with another, and if you try to control everything, you will not be able to control neither the first thing or the first step. So we need to look at it as a reversed mode, such as don't do everything, just do one thing at a time. And for us, just because we are so into doing things fast, it will work out because we tend to focus a lot into the first thing, and then we just go like a snowball over and over and over again. And this is basically me right now. I started yesterday at night after my job, and right now I'm so grateful that I did. So yeah, that's basically it. So yeah. And to be honest, the one thing that really taught me my dear friend here, one of the ones that have followed me since I was in my lowest and so many on, is that I always come back in ways that are more creative than before. And yeah, it's so true. For instance, who would have said that I know how to blur this character? No one. And yet I did it myself, and I can even blur this whole part. That's really cool, though. I really would love to. So yeah, there's no actual way to say, oh, I cannot do this because I don't have time. You do have time. You do have time. You just don't want to do it. That's the whole reality. And for those who procrastinate a lot, I just recommend you to be honest with yourself and tell you the hard truth of, if I don't do this, I would just keep the same bad feeling over and over again, and we don't want that, so I need to do this instead. As I said, it's easy to say, but the hardest part is to accept it, because you can do whatever you want. But for instance, you also need a way to regulate yourself, to find a way to really be honest with yourself and say, you know what, I didn't do this because I didn't feel like it, and then act on it, which is crazy, right? But it does works. It does works. Now we're gonna listen to this video that it's literally about this book. The Mountain Is You, and I hope it's not that large, but we're gonna listen to it.
Who am I to do this? I can't do this. I'm not ready yet. It's too late to start. I have to wait till it's perfect to begin. Then pause for a second. Please know that this is your mountain. You are the mountain. This is your job to climb. And I say that lovingly. You are the obstacle, because everything you want, the life of your dreams, freedom, peace, money, the people that you are looking for desperately, they are on the other side of this mountain. And it is your job to make it over there. It is your job to climb the mountain. Nobody else can climb this mountain for you. So the first lesson is, you are the mountain. So Brianna says, your mountain is the block between you and the life you want to live. Facing it is the only path to your freedom and becoming. And I think truly it's why I was stuck for so long, was because I did not want to climb the mountain. I was like, that mountain is intimidating. It's scary. I'm not a hiker. I hate hiking. So that's what the point of this book is. That's what the point of this video is. I want to help you climb the mountain in slow, safe, gentle, kind ways so that you can actually make it across and get to everything you want to get to. So if you deeply believe things like a 50K a year salary is the most you'll ever be capable of earning, or you could never build a business, that was me. Like, for the first 20 years of my life, I was like, I could never build a business by myself. That's so crazy, and I could never be an entrepreneur. It's so risky. Or I hate running. I'm not a runner. Or I'm awkward on camera. I thought that for a really long time, not even giving myself the chance to get good on the camera. It's too late to start on YouTube. Oh, I believed that for years. I kept telling myself, oh, you should have started when you were 15, when you were 16. That was like really YouTube's heyday, and it's too late to start now. It's too late. And I told myself that every single year. And the problem with that is, the more you think these things, you start to identify with those beliefs and you begin to accept it as fact. You don't question it anymore. So I'd love for you to take a second and think about what beliefs you have that you accept as fact. The reality is, a lot of your identity can be fluid. It can be what you want it to be. I thought I could never have a green couch. That's true. I thought that was so crazy and so eccentric, and I'm such a rule follower, I could never buy a green couch. Then I bought a green couch. You can just do that. We have free will. And I know it's confronting to look at some of these beliefs and be like, is it true? So I'm not saying you have to dismantle all these beliefs right now. I'm just saying the next time something comes up that tells you you can't do it, ask, is that really true? So essentially, this book is a book about self-sabotage, why we do it, and how to stop. And if you're saying, I don't self-sabotage,
You do.
don't you though?
Probably.
When I first saw this book and it said transforming self-sabotage into self-mastery, I was like, I don't self-sabotage. This book's not relevant for me. So here's some signs of self-sabotage. See if you can find yourself in them, because I can definitely find myself in all of these. Always being too busy. Perfectionism, huge issue for me. I'm not ready yet. This is not perfect yet. I need to work on it a bit more. Your inner critic is really loud. Your inner critic is that little voice inside your head that's like, that's not good enough. Why are you doing that? That's so stupid. Why'd you do that? Unrealistic expectations. So telling yourself, if you don't make 100K this year with your brand new business, it's ruined. You should just give up early. Judging others harshly. This one is a really interesting one, because oftentimes I think when you really want something deeply and you see somebody else doing exactly what you want, but you're not allowing yourself to have the thing you want, you end up projecting your own desires onto that person, being like, I can't have it. Why should they be allowed to have it? Oh my gosh, like, why did she film it this way? I would have done it so much better. Another one, endless justification. Have you ever hung out with someone where you're like, why aren't they already doing that thing? Like, they obviously want it so bad, but they just have so many reasons for why they can't do it. Another sign of self-sabotage is always playing the blame game. So it's always somebody else's fault why you can't do the thing that you desperately want. And of course, I know there are actual things externally that sometimes prevent us from having what we want. So there is a line there. I totally understand, and I recognize that privilege is a thing. I recognize my own privilege as well, but I will say gently that there is more often more in our control than we think there is. Another one, deep resistance to what you want, which I have experienced a lot. Like when somebody brought up the topic of YouTube or business, I was always like, oh, like there was like a recoil from my body being like, I could never, oh my gosh, that's so wild that I couldn't do that. That would be like deep resistance. Like my body was pushing against this thing. And actually in another book, The War of Art, the author actually said, if you feel that deep resistance to something, that often doesn't mean you deeply don't want it, because if you deeply don't want something, you will have no reaction to it. You'll just be like, that's not really for me. But if you have this like deep recoil resistance, it might be a sign that there's something there to examine that could potentially be interesting for you. So self-sabotage is essentially a coping mechanism. It's how we numb ourselves to what we really want and give ourselves a little bit of a temporary relief from recognizing the underlying thing. Another sign of self-sabotage, shiny object syndrome, so you know the people who jump from new thing to new thing, all of it without finishing any of those things to completion. So if you're doing any of these things, don't worry. I did as well. All of these things I have done. And it's just so funny that at some point in time, I thought I don't self-sabotage. Girl, you do. Okay, so let's talk about why we actually do this. If we truly want something, why isn't our brain just supporting us and being like, you go, you got this? So the second lesson from this book is that self-sabotage is actually a form of self-protection. So Brianna says, we refuse to consciously meet our innermost needs, often because we do not believe we are capable of handling them. When I read that in the book,
pretty much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because that is true. For a long time, I was like, you can't start YouTube because if you start YouTube and you fail, I'm not capable of handling that. If I succeed and lots of people are watching me, I also can't handle that. I can't handle either scenarios. Both scenarios are scary. So self-sabotage isn't really you trying to destroy yourself or your brain trying to destroy you secretly for some whatever reason. It's actually a survival mechanism to keep you safe so your survival needs are met. And of course, in modern day society, when I talk about survival, I'm not talking about like hunter-gatherer, a lion is chasing me, I might not make it till dinner survival. I'm talking really about the survival of our ego, right? That's what we're always trying to protect. So for example, if you are afraid of being seen, which I am as well, then your brain is going to do everything it can to prevent you from sitting down and filming a YouTube video, filming a TikTok video, filming an Instagram reel, and posting that, because it wants to protect you. A lot of people have a lot of opinions and they might type them in the comments, and that threatens your need for acceptance from other people and belonging in the tribe. So this is essentially how our mountain forms. Just like how mountains are formed by like two pieces of earth pushing, our internal mountain is kind of formed by two coexisting needs. So the top need is the conscious need. That's the thing that you think you want, right? So that might be things like, I want to move to my dream city, I want to travel the world, I want to start a business, I want to build a YouTube channel. That's the conscious need. But underneath that are the unconscious needs. So that's needs that we're not fully aware of most of the time. So these needs might be need for validation, need for belonging, need for safety, need for control. When you try to do anything out of your comfort zone, you have to give up some control, some certainty in exchange for potentially what might happen. So until you figure out the core need behind your self-sabotaging behavior, the pattern will just keep repeating over and over. So let's talk about the difference between core commitments and core needs. And this was one of the biggest things I took from this book. I read this book years and years and years ago. It is the one thing I have never forgotten. So core commitments are what you think you need. Core needs are what you actually need and aren't letting yourself have. And the interesting thing is your core need is normally the opposite of the core commitment. So you're trying to get a lot more of the commitment over and over and over, and that doesn't fulfill the core commitment. The only thing that will most of the time is the opposite of it. A core commitment could be things like you thinking you need control, which, I mean, for me was a huge issue, and I mean, it still is. And often what you think solves that core commitment is more of that core commitment. So then you start to control even harder, right? You start planning everything, you organize everything perfectly, you think through the worst case scenario a million times, like holding on even tighter. And what Brianna says is actually the only way to fulfill your core commitment is by giving yourself the core need. The core need, if you desperately want control, is to trust in yourself and others. And that blew my mind. I can't even tell you how much, because trying to get more control over the situation doesn't really fulfill that need for control. It doesn't solve the problem. What does solve the problem for me now is trusting in my ability to figure it out. trusting in my ability to handle what happens, trusting in others' abilities to help me if I need help. Self-trust, I will just say, this is my little caveat, I think is the number one thing most people who struggle and get stuck in business like I did should work on. Trusting yourself, not just in the decisions you make, but trusting yourself that if you make a decision that is less than optimal, it will still be fine. You will figure out a way. Another example of a core commitment, thinking that you need everyone to like you, which is, I mean...
Okay, I'll be back in a few. Gonna to the store. Okay, cool. Cool. Just be careful and yeah, take care. We will be here just for the rest of the day. But okay, let's make a pause because it's a lot of information. Oh dear. So yeah, this whole thing about self-trust and everything is such a big theme, and I don't like it as much. Because myself, I don't really trust as much about myself, even though I know I'm right. Crazy, right? But the thing is, I'm always right. I'm always right about things. I'm always right about the outcome because I already know the patterns and I already understand what it's gonna be like if something happens or something doesn't happen. So with that being said, it's really hard for me to accept the fact that I just hate my career. That's the whole thing. I really hate it. And it's not really because I hate the career itself, it's because the way of them to evaluate us is so rigid. It's literally like, you need to be a professional now. And I'm like, I don't even know the half of this team, and I am feeling so lost. And the last thing you do is teaching me things. So I need to do it by myself, which is the hardest truth about university. It's just, you need to be alone, and that's the only way to go, kind of thing. And that teaches you just to be adult, just to grow up and do everything by yourself. And although you've been doing that since then, since you were young, sometimes the hardest truth is they don't really care about you. None of them. None of your professors, not even your parents. The truth is, you will always be alone at the end of the day. And that's the hardest truth ever as growing up. Because you will end up alone, even though you don't want to. So with that being said, I would totally recommend some people to just find ways to be more conscious about your reality, more conscious about the things you can do before you even act on anyone, is like values and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like you just really need to be careful and just pick up what is right for you, what is not. Now, I'm not saying that this is easy to go, to be honest. It's actually not that easy. Because there are some times where everyone will be against us, and that's okay, because nobody really is living our lives. And it's easy to say, as I said, but yeah, it's really hard from time to time. But for instance, I would say the perfect plan for animators to really rise up and improve is never stop. If you want and to have like a project as a digital way, just continue with that. And if it works, then go forward. Life is just one, and for me, 20 years have passed really fast. And I don't feel like it. I always felt old, by the way. And 10 years, it's really like, I remember I was a child just eating ice cream, and now I'm just an adult drinking coffee. That's basically reality. And the most beautiful part about reality for me is that anytime it can turn in your way if you decide it. If you don't decide it, then things might change in a drastic bad way that you don't want to. For instance, I was really afraid of failure, and to be honest, my university had been a total failure. I hate it. So it's like, if that's the truth, then what does really works for me? It works for me to be a freelance, and not because I say it, it's because it's the truth. It works for me better to be by myself and just support my mom in what I can, because we have a common business, basically. And it's been like that since like 7 years. So it's like, why should I just give up on something that have given me enough in order to feed myself and feed my family itself? So being realistic in that way is like, I would definitely give up on my career But here is the truth also. The career gives you a structure, and even though mine is, I built it the worst way possible, the also truth is I can just rebuild it if I want to. Anything can be rebuilt, anything can be restored or resetted, and anything can be taken as what it is, as a learning lesson. So I didn't really have that mindset before because it was tricky, or maybe because I didn't want to accept the fact that I had to do the hard job. And that is literally the part of being adult. You just need to accept that and just go further in life and don't really think as much about the outcome of life. Because when you think too much about it, for instance, I'm gonna just give you this raw example of the LGBTQ acceptance in life. Sadly, the ones that gives odd opinions about something of religion or your characteristics in life are the ones that never had the opportunity to represent themselves in public without feeling that fear. In other words, it's just like they said, if you are homophobic, probably you're gay, but you're gay from a closet place, like really close one. And it's funny though. I've seen that joke all around on social media. It's like, my dear people, if you never experienced what it was actually like to love someone by your same sex, that's your problem. That's your problem, because there is more options. Myself, I had experienced what it's like to love both sides and in the middle of the spectrum, and it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful, and I really love people itself. But it's like, sadly, at this age, is so certain that we don't really know what to do with our lives. And that's another thing. We give so many etiquettes, like so many keys to the existence of anyone that we actually lose about ourselves, what we do and what we cannot do, or we can actually do. So in this way of losing ourselves, we also lose the actual conscious of what people really is. So yeah, that's one thing. I've learned recently that I was right all along. I was right that I could do whatever the hell I wanted with no need of anybody. I was right with that the fears and anger of my parents are nothing compared to my actual ambitions. And it's been like that since I was young. So if that is the case, then why should I even fucking worry about them anyways? And I know I love them so much. I love my parents like what they are. As a structure and as authority, they have the right to tell me, you're so stupid for not doing this, you're so this and that. But they have no right to determine my future. And that is the strongest limit you can do with your parents. Because sometimes if you live in a place where they protect you, or they don't care about you at all, which is quite like the opposite, you tend to misunderstand the actual image of your parents, and you are like, oh, they're the worst, or oh, they're the best. And like, no, your parents are your parents, that's all. You need to take it as what it is. And it took me therapy, it took me years, it took me being honest with my mother especially, and tell her, this is like shit, I don't like it, I will keep on doing it, like actually doing it now on purpose, but I really don't enjoy it. And she's like, you know what, just do it, but just finish it. It doesn't need to be perfect. What needs to be perfect are the projects and the freedom and the wisdom you take over that. That is the whole point of university in this case. Now, in the work field, you need to be really careful and selective about the jobs that you accept. That's why so many artists or my teachers asks me, be selective about the content you want to create or the actual audience you want to present your content to. Because it's not the same to present it to kids, to present it to 18 plus people. Nothing at all. And in my case, I've never been a fucking child content creator. Never. I think by the simple fact of being a War Cats fan, since I was a really young one. I've never really thought of creating something for kids. It's easy, probably, but it doesn't fit with me. I'm more like a person that creates for teenagers and plus and beyond, or maybe all the family, but it's so difficult to have that balance too. Because I love horror stuff, I love seductive stuff, I love something like Dead. What is this? Love, Death Plus Robots from Netflix. I love drama, I love fantasy, I love deep knowledge, I love things that are realistic and really crude, and that's not for kids. So, with that being said, my audience, I really hope so in the future, can turn to be more into the major kind of category because it's really difficult to control them. And but yeah, I mean, internet will do whatever the hell they want to. But yeah, I think we need to really be clear about that nowadays because we tend to get a lot of problems with that. We really do. And also, it's like, don't be stupid. If you are a responsible parent that just lets your kid to have access to the internet that only mixes up everything, I'm really, really sorry, but that's not gonna be a good idea. You know, problems will just arrive. And so many on like all this content creation and all this stuff are little keys to the things you want to create in life. For instance, I do have so many friends in the not safe word category, not safe for work, not safe for work, that are like, you know, worked in Riot Games, worked in so many other like quote unquote industries. You know, it's just insane. And I'm just like, but how much do you win with this? And it's like, oh, about it, this and this, like really big money. And I'm like, but you feel comfortable with it. It's like, well, I always been exposed in this way, and I feel comfortable with natural developments in this kind of scenarios. And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't share that. So by recognizing this little limit between us, I can respect their job, but I don't have to be part of them. And that's another thing that so many people says. What works for me will not work the same for you. And that's normal. That's totally normal. I've seen so many people that actually misunderstands the situations where they believe that if they do this, they might like it, but nope. And that's a common thing with ADHD people because we tend to overdo anything and actually try new things and crazy hobbies. For instance, I actually learned how to play the piano, the guitar, and the drums just this past few months in December and the beginning of January. And I like them, but I don't see myself producing music based on instruments. I see myself rather making. Wait a second. Oh, I forgot this. No worries. Yeah, the shadow is fine. Yeah, I see myself more singing. I love singing. I love instruments too, but I prefer and love singing a lot. As you may know, I'm a person that only speaks. And if you stay with me and I don't speak, worry about me because I will probably be depressed. I am a person that really likes to exteriorate problems and just solve them in the moment instead of actually letting you go. Because when I do that, it's because I'm tired of you. I'm really exhausted and I don't really know what to say to someone that only keeps on failing or just ruining their lives. And that's actually the reason why I have huge problems with friends. It's because I really don't care about the problem. I care about them. I care about what they can do about that problem, not what they think about that problem. You know, that's the whole thing. And with that being said, we need to be really assertive. We really need to be so assertive about people and the ones you want in your life first. And for those who might be worrying about kids, for example, that's another theme that I had to cover up. and be honest with myself. Even my youngest self, I was fascinated by the idea that how the actual hell we women has the ability to, yeah, to actually have kids. That was like my certainty, just speaking up and being like, how is this possible? And with the pass of time, sadly, I've been surrounded by the idea that having kids is the worst. And it is hard. It is really a hard thing. I haven't had kids, but I did have to take care of the son of my stepsister when I was younger. And I had to take care of so many youngers when I was younger, if that makes sense. I was like 12 and they were like 9 or 8 years old, and I was like the older sister of them. So I've been always a person that takes care of others, and I'm happy with that. I feel so yeah. I mean, I've been really calm about it. The only thing I may not like, and it's not really because of them, so it's because of the fact that I hate the parents. I hate the parents because when they listen a kid cry, the last thing they do is help. The thing they do, and it's the worst for me at least, is making them feel bad about themselves. It's like, oh, now it's your failure for being this and that kind of thing. That's the first thing they say and the first thing they do. But that's a really bad reflection of themselves. And kids has no failure of being kids. Even though it's stressful, even though you don't know what to do, even though nobody really knows what to do in life, they have no fault to be there. If anything, it's your fault to act like you are doing it. And it is hard, it is difficult, but it's not the way to go. So yeah, you need a lot of strength, if you ask me, to be a good parent. And it's not perfect. It's not perfect. And it took me years to accept that no one really is that perfect. That doesn't even exist. So yeah, with that being said, I think we just covered the whole spectrum of what it's like to grow up with me and what I've learned. And I know you may already know about this whole thing, but I also want to let you know the kind of person and podcast kind of thing that I want to make with all of you. Because I totally enjoy this. I totally enjoy just explaining so much stuff I've learned from the good side and the bad side of internet. And just to be clear and honest with you, I don't like social media as much. Okay, yeah, that's something I hate, but I like. So I enjoy the art that they create. I enjoy the art I see. I enjoy to see wonderful stories, but I feel bored about it now. So if you wonder, oh my gosh, can I change this, or can I just change the kind of content I see? Yes, you can. It's just part of your actual your decision. To be honest, there's nothing more than that. Okay, now we're done with the character. We even blur the shadows. We blur the flashes. We made the eye like eye light, and we're done with all of this. It's a really limited and really limited animation because I didn't do right the shadow or this sketch or the actual keyframes, and there's so many things I would love to fix, but to be honest, it is what it is. I will do better animations later on, maybe not, maybe yes. It is just what it is. Especially when it comes to an animation that I don't get paid for and I am just enjoying it. this is what you get. However, I do learn that it's better to geometrize your characters and your body itself first, and then do the all details in separate. It's so much better. So I do recommend that. Because what I do normally is just using it as a one layer character, like this whole form, and then try to replicate it without noticing that this fur has volume and has a different kind of movement. The ears are the same, the little hairs are the same, even the scars, even the neck, the whole muscles are just a different part to be animated. And that's why so many animators struggles with fur, because yeah, it's hard to follow it. But you need like to respect each part of the body if you want to like do this kind of thing. Okay, now I need to export this as an animation, but also I want to make a background. So what we will do is make a new space, which is gonna be 3840 by 2116. A really big canvas. 2116. There you go. And here, okay, so we're gonna save this, and now we can take this out, and I'm going to export this whole animation. I don't like, personally, the idea of exporting this way, because it doesn't select the right place, but I'm gonna do my best with that. I think I'll see if Krita allows me to export a render animation. I will see if it really respects the time, because sometimes what it does, 66, include audio, no, video, so we're gonna be making, okay, golden, or no, just ivy pool 1. Okay, I'm gonna see if it works, because we can wait. What I can also do is just put the background behind, like I always do, but I do want to make a really good composition out of this later on. So yeah, let's continue and listen to this, people. Oh yes, and that thing about liking to people, like being good to them, the hardest secret is that you can be good to everybody, only being kind. That's the whole thing. But if you're not kind to yourself, then how the actual fuck can you be kind to anyone else? That's the whole thing. That's why I love that film. And when they ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? Kind. And that's the most beautiful wish ever. I think that film really helps you to grow up a lot. Because growing up is nothing but just accepting the reality and living with it. That's pretty much it. It's nothing bad. It's just what it is. So, with that being said, I really encourage people to just think about that a little bit more. Now let's continue.
I have all these problems, actually. You think that the way to address people all liking you is to people please, right? You keep making yourself smaller, you keep abandoning yourself, you keep putting other people's desires and wishes above your own, thinking that that's going to solve the need for everyone to like you. When in reality, the core need of that you should actually be giving yourself is self-worth. worth.
Bless me.
To feel worthy without performing. To build your relationship with yourself so that that confidence comes from within so that you stop abandoning yourself. Another example, your need for everything to be perfect, right? I need to be perfect for things to be worthwhile. Anybody that struggles with perfectionism, which it's me, I'm the problem, it's me, knows that spending 4 million of hours on something doesn't actually make you feel like it's actually perfect. It makes you actually feel like insane, first of all. And second of all, it makes you feel like there is no end in sight. There is never perfection. You will just keep working on it forever. The core need of that is to be accepted as you are, which is imperfect. Another need, core commitment. Needing constant validation. It's not the case that if you get 100 comments telling you that you're amazing, you're gonna feel 100 times better. Like, that's not, it's just an illusion. Because if you build up all of your self-worth on what other people have to say about you, then there's that fear that they can take it away because the power is with them. So the core need that Brianna says here is self-acceptance. That is the only true source of validation that can fulfill you. I know that's very hard, and it's not something that I just tell you and you're like, okay, perfect, Dea, thanks so much. It's something you need to work on. And I know a lot of people don't want to work on it. They want the short-term Band-Aid solution. Imagine for a second, you trust yourself 100%. You accept yourself 100% as you are. There's nothing you have to change about yourself. You are exactly the way you are, and it is perfect. You know everything is going to work out in your favor. What would you do today? And if that is not what you were planning on doing today, then there's probably some self-sabotaging after that. Imagine we all operated like that. The world would be a magical place. So a lot of this self-sabotage, I think, comes from the inability to be uncomfortable. And I am just saying this as queen of discomfort avoidance. So please do not feel called out because I'm sure whatever you're doing, I'm doing it twice as bad. So the third lesson is to really work on not burying uncomfortable emotions. So when you don't allow yourself to feel emotions, like these weird emotions in terms of like anger or grief or shame, you bury it all in a cute little puddle, and then that thing becomes a trigger because you haven't addressed it, you haven't processed it. It's just a thing. And most of us have little landmines. We buried a lot of things, and there are landmines everywhere now. And the second someone touches something that's a little bit sensitive for us because we haven't processed it, it becomes a trigger for us to react in ways, to sabotage ourselves in ways, to create all of this other kind of weird behavior that we're like, I don't know why I did that. Emotional intelligence means being aware of your emotions, allowing them to come through, not just intellectualizing. My therapist has to tell me that all the time, but actually allowing yourself to feel the emotions. When you sad, you cry. When you're angry, you stand up for yourself. So it's really important to listen to those triggers and what they're trying to tell you. So here are some examples. I love this slide. So if you're feeling regret often, so for example, for me, every year I told myself you should have started YouTube last year. I was feeling so much regret. So what regret was trying to tell me was, do it now. Yes, maybe you should have started years ago.
Pretty much.
You can't go back in time. Do it now. Another one, if you feel yourself getting angry, triggered, anger is a very healthy emotion, according to my therapist. She says it gives us the energy we need to take a stand and to take action for ourselves. Oftentimes, anger is the peak state we reach before we make a huge change in our life. And I have experienced this many times where I was stuck in my head for a really long time about a bunch of things, blah, 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 looping. And eventually I got so fed up with myself and I was like, I don't even care about any of that anymore. I'm going to do the thing. And then my brain was like, yeah, but what about? And I was like, shut up. I'm done with that line of thinking. I'm going to go do this thing now. And
pretty
that
much.
is the power of anger when you use that energy for good. Another trigger, jealousy. When you notice yourself getting jealous, it is a great moment to pause and be like, what about this person's life or business or attitude or mindset am I feeling like uncomfy with? Because every time I have been deeply jealous in my life, it has been because that person had something I really wanted. And sometimes I didn't even consciously realize that's why I was jealous. Sadness is a good indicator that there's something valuable there, something meaningful was lost, and it shows you oftentimes what you deeply value as well. So if you're often sad about the same things, what is it about that thing that you deeply value? Guilt is a good trigger to show yourself where you fell short of your own expectations and a reminder of how you want to do better next time. Also a really good one. Embarrassment, I feel like often comes from there being a disalignment between who you are and what you show to the world. And I think, this is my theory, I don't know if this is true, I feel like sometimes when other people are like, oh, that's so cringe, it is because that person is showing up exactly as they are. Maybe totally honestly, maybe it is a little embarrassing, but they don't care. And that triggers me because I'm like, I can't show up like that. That would be insane. And then I feel like then often people project and they're like, that's so cringe. So have a look at those triggers, examine them, journal on them, see what's going on. Tell us in the comments if you feel brave enough to share, but no pressure. So when it comes to business, when it comes to starting a dream that you desperately want to have, this is how I would love to challenge you to develop your emotional intelligence, because it is a skill and it takes time to build it. So the more you practice, the less you will find yourself holding yourself back when it comes to things you desperately want, when it comes to conquering your mountain. So the first thing is to acknowledge and name your emotions. This is something I've had to work on in therapy a lot, is when those emotions come, when you feel the energy of emotion in your body, pause and just be like, what do I feel right now? So let yourself feel your feelings without judgment. Oftentimes, for me at least, when emotions come up, I immediately jump to judging, analyzing, intellectualizing. That is not nice, because then you're not allowing the feelings to come through. So ask yourself, what am I feeling? Write it down. Try your best not to judge, not to analyze, not to intellectualize, not to explain what's going on or why you feel that way or how to get rid of the feeling, how to avoid the feeling. Just look at it with acceptance and be like, this is the situation. This is how I feel. Step 2 is when you notice yourself exhibiting self-sabotaging behaviors, whether that is procrastination or telling yourself you can't do something, take a second, pause, write it down, and just ask yourself, what could this be trying to protect me from? What could my brain telling me I can't do this, be trying to protect me from? What is it that it is actually afraid of? And then the next thing is to challenge those thoughts. Is it actually true? Right? So if you get into that looping thought of like, and I mean, I have this all the time, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? What if it burns down my business? What if it bankrupts everything? What if blah, 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 blah? Pause and be like, how likely is all of that? And also, what would happen if that happened? What would be your game plan? If this thing didn't work out, you would just move on to the next thing, and it would be fine. It would not be the end of the world. The next lesson is so fire. This is another thing I've never forgotten from this book, even after years, and that is humans love being comfortable more than we love being happy. And it's this quote from Rihanna: human beings are guided by comfort. They stay close to what feels familiar and reject what doesn't, even if it is objectively better for them. Even if something is objectively better for you. You know what that means? Objectively better for you.
Pretty
you might
much.
still resist it because it's uncomfortable. And there's this other quote that I love from the book: self-sabotage is the product of familiarity. Anything that is foreign, even if good, will be uncomfortable at first. And often the insidious thing that can happen is we say we want something, we want change, we want to start a business, but unconsciously we fear change so much and the uncertainty so much that we sabotage our efforts to prevent the change from happening. And that is really tricky, and it's really unfair to yourself. You know, it's kind of like when you know that cold pitching is the best way to land clients. And then you make up all these things about why you can't cold pitch today, why you should work more on your portfolio, why you should work more on your website, actually, why you should work more on doing free work for people, why you should try to get more testimonials, and all of that is...
Wait a second. I didn't reach you? Okay, I'm back. The store was much busier than I anticipated. Don't worry, welcome back. So let's just have a break of all of that because I can go on and on listening to it, but we need a break here. So first of all, I really love how this is going because it reminds me of how to actually paint the Lion King backgrounds. I remember how it was in the cave when we see a scar with the little mouse. So I'm doing basically that with this, and it's looking so cool. I really, really love that, how it's going with this. But yeah, I would just have to be quite honest with you all. Self-sabotage is nothing more than that, and when you face your fear, you understand that it was not that big at all. It's easy to say, I know, but it's also easier to understand it and act on it instead of really looking at like, oh, it's the end of the world, which is not the truth. I would say nothing is the end of nothing if you decide like that. And I would also encourage anyone that feels like it to really try out some different plans, different ways to go. Especially because there is always this little thing that you are afraid of, which is failure. And funny enough, I would say take failure as it is. You already failed so many times. So why don't you just learn from it? That's the whole point. And I would say don't listen to your friends because they are the worst enemies of success, I would say. Friends will make you feel better. That's all. That's all what they will do. But they won't solve your problems. Even though they try, the truth is they cannot solve your problems. So yeah. Oh my, okay, cool. My honest opinion of that is they can give you some little advice, but that's pretty much it. That's the only thing they could give you. What else? Well, pretty much that. It's like I'm trying to find out answers in my own self. Like, what did I fail, like self-sabotaging myself, such as this project, like it's not gonna work out, it's not gonna be the best, or something like that. Why am I keeping this if it doesn't look good? Why is this not fluid? What should I keep on doing? I think that's the main kind of dialogue I have when I make a project or an animated map part. I do have my doubts. I do have my times of I may have regret this because it's not what I like. I may have regret this because it's not what I came for doing it. No one is paying me this. La yada yada. But the truth is, I do this because I enjoy it. It's because it was my decision to do it, and I really want to try it out this way. You know? And it's also because if I don't start with something, I will not really start at all. So I would say just be really compromised of the things you want to make, and the rest will just go by its own. So yeah. Totally agree. Oh, my backgrounds are so pretty. Thank you. I would say it's quite too brighty, but that's the idea. It's gonna look better later on. I wanna make a blur, but I don't know. I think lens blur would be the best. Another question would be, at what kind of angle? Cool. Now this Gaussian blur. I think we can make it even bigger, this, since I really need the green to be there. So there you go. It's pretty cool. Now I'll be, I think she's going like in front of the light. Yeah, she's going like this. So I will need to make this effect with the background too. But yeah, so I would have to be honest, the only reason why I self-sabotage myself is trying to understand my father. And that's something we'd never accept as youngsters. I was trying for years to understand my parents, and in order to do that, I had to be the same failure that they were, which is the most stupid thing that I could ever say out loud, but it's truth. The only reason why I step and stay with stupid people, it's because I want to understand why they are the way they are. And this act of empathy often turns me into a lot of troubles. Because I never really understood that you can put some limits before actually treating with them. So yeah, it's just like that. It's not really because I hate myself or anything. It's because I care too much about people. My gosh, that I tend to do things like that. I'm still thinking this is not addition. It needs to be color Dutch. Yeah. This is just weird. I think it could be overlay, maybe. Nah. Color dodge. Or maybe what if I... There you go. So, yep. Now it's moment of concentration because I'm trying to find out why this whole color doesn't work with me. And I really hope I can just fix it as much right there. And also use the shadows for the background too. There you go. That's better. So much better. There you go. I would say I will just do the same that I always do, which is just leaving this in the background in the same place. And just move it a little bit. So let me see. What? What did I export it with images? Why did I do that? Okay. So now we can take this out. We can take this out. And now I will open this as a PNG aside. And yeah, well, now let me just continue with this podcast.
Self-sabotage.
But yeah, as a really good resume of this, I try my best to understand people, but there's always a good limit to do that and not lose yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're not gonna really live the life of them. You're gonna live a life that you try to really fix yourself, and you cannot really like keep other people's worries to you. It's just like carry just the weight of the world. That's the worst thing you can do to yourself. And I didn't understand it until just a few months. So there you go. That's it.
Because your brain is so terrified of you pitching and getting out there, maybe getting rejected, which everybody does, or maybe even landing the clients. Comfort is tricky because it can keep you in a job you hate, working with clients who drain you, but you know them well, so they're comfortable, so maybe it's scary to let them go, in a relationship that you know is not good for you, and toxic friendships, friends who undermine you, but you've been friends for so long, so it's kind of comfortable, avoiding new experiences. The longer we indulge in things that are not right for us, in the name of being comfortable, the larger your mountain gets. Your mountain is going to keep growing and keep growing and keep growing, because the truth is, you want what you want. So discomfort. Let's talk about discomfort. Everything in nature we know is imperfect, right? Change and growth is possible only because things are imperfect. Volcanoes need eruptions, stars need collapse. Humans also need to be faced, often with no other choice, before we make a change. So discomfort is a signal that you've stopped growing, and maybe it's time to develop yourself, to learn something new, to learn a new mental skill, to develop your emotional intelligence. So it's our job to stop and listen to those signals. Something from therapy, and fun fact, is I told my therapist at some point, like, yeah, but isn't it just easier to avoid discomfort, then nothing will be uncomfortable? And she said, yeah, isn't it better become so comfortable with discomfort that nothing is uncomfortable anymore. And I was like, I'm not saying you need to go bungee jumping. I'm saying we're going to slowly take action and increase our comfort zones. And discomfort is also often a catalyst to help us get fed up with the life that was never meant for us and to give us the energy to make a change. So the next lesson is there's no big cinematic breakthrough moment coming. So Brianna says, if you're stuck in life, it's probably because you're waiting for the big bang, the breakthrough moment in which all your fears dissolve and you're overcome with clarity. The work that needs to happen happens effortlessly. That moment will never come. That is really heartbreaking to hear, but there's also something magical in that. That means you don't have to wait for some moment anymore. You can begin now and know that if you don't make changes, life will probably eventually force you to change. What's comfortable now will become less and less comfortable until it's unbearable to stay where you are. And that's just sometimes what we need, I feel like. So most people don't actually take action until they hit rock bottom. When changing becomes the least comfortable option, when you reach that point of like, I never want to feel like this again, and you fully crash out, sometimes that is when you actually do end up changing your life, and that is a good day. So Brianna says, love this quote, people who are meant for you are going to meet you on the other side of your mountain. You're going to build a new comfort zone around the things that actually move you forward. Instead of being liked, you're going to be loved. Instead of being understood, you're going to be seen. All you're going to lose is what was built for a person you no longer are. And that is so magical. So I have two options for you to make change. Both work. I have used both extensively, both work. The first option is to get fed up. Like I was saying, anger is a really powerful energy source to take action and to override a lot of fearful thoughts, for me at least. The second option is kind of the opposite, which also works for me sometimes. So pick whichever one feels right for you. And that is to be my most compassionate, most accepting self to my inner child. Hold your own hand. Do it. I'm watching you. Do it. Do it right now. I know it's dorky. It doesn't matter. Do it. And give yourself the kindness and grace and compassion that you give to other people. When your friends come to you and say, I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel, what do you say to them? No way you say, oh, you couldn't do that, you're too old to do that, or it's not the right time, or you should wait, or you're gonna be really bad at it. You would never in a million years say that to a good friend. Now, if you're saying things like, but Dea, this is my reality, I literally don't have the skills to make $50 an hour, I'm not good on camera, I couldn't do it, I am too old, I am too young. Listen to me, your limiting belief is not the objective truth. And I know if you've repeated it to yourself over and over and over a million times, you think it's the truth. You're like, no, but Dea, I literally can't. It is a belief. It is not objective truth that you can't do something. For example, for me, I had a belief to start a YouTube channel, I had to be born with the skill of being good on camera. I'm just not good on camera. I'm so awkward on camera. But the reality of the situation is it takes time to get good on camera. It takes time. It's a skill you practice. I'm just saying that. That is so mean. To not even let yourself practice getting good at a skill. Just being like, I can't do it. Just because you weren't born with something doesn't mean you can't give yourself the time to get good at something. You can build $50 an hour skills. You can get good on camera. You can learn how to build a business. You can Google, you can figure it out. We have AI now. Use those things to your advantage. The most amazing, wonderful, cool thing I feel like about humans is that we are capable of almost anything. Anything in this life. So prove it to yourself that you can. Confidence comes from making promises to yourself and then keeping them and showing yourself that you have your own back. I don't want anybody thinking that changing your life looks like this, expecting you're going to finish a huge task in one go, telling yourself, I'm going to build my entire website brand portfolio this week, because that is, again, setting unrealistic goals, unrealistic expectations to accomplish something that should realistically be broken down into small, tiny steps instead. Or starting with your ideal perfect start instead of slowly building momentum and giving yourself the patience and grace to build that momentum over time. Or assuming you're going to feel motivated every day. That is not what changing your life looks like. Changing your life looks like respecting your current commitments, whatever that is. If you have a 9 to 5, if you have kids, respecting those commitments while still making time for your goals, right? Holding your own hand, filling your days with new habits, goals, and people so that it slowly becomes your new normal. Not drastically changing your life because that shocks your nervous system and that's too much at once. And then your body rebels. It's like, no, I can't. We're giving it all up. That's not what I want. I want you to take small steps. Slowly adjusting to a new life by breaking up big goals into tiny actions. I love tiny actions. I have used tiny actions to do literally everything big in my life. Starting a business, my tiny action was 15 minutes a day. I'm going to work on my business. So my question to you is, what's the first tiny action you're going to take? Are you going to spend 15 minutes working on your dream business, just dreaming about it? Letting yourself take a break and rest, maybe that's what you need right now. Writing a rough draft for a cold pitch to a business owner, adding one healthy thing to a meal, wearing that thing that you've always wanted to wear, doesn't matter. Pick the first tiny action that feels good, that feels right to get to where you want to go. I'm also a huge 𝘿𝘭𝘭𝘰 fan. Alright, if you like this book, you're also going to like me breaking down this other book. This is another book I have gifted a lot of times. It is insanely good for helping you dismantle a lot of this like hustle culture mindset, which I think is so useful in making sustainable progress with whatever you're trying to do. So take that if you want, no pressure.
No, but yeah. And now, without noticing it, we just finished with this. And we can use some camera movements, but first I need to check out my programs. So yeah, here we go first. So this whole thing looks good visually, but in camera itself looks bad. It looks so rigid. So we need to make a certain, like, for instance, it will be like this. So a movement from here, from here, then here, and then the camera will go back just a little bit. So that's the whole idea. But for now, we will be drawing. I can leave this to edit. Now I have the video. I just need to edit it later on, and also make a tiny video to publish it on Patreon. Well, which is not really that important. I think I could just share it on YouTube with no need to make it so special. But yeah, yes. We're done. We're basically done. So we take this out. Nope. We take this out. You want to save this as color? Yes. Now that we got everything clear here, I really want to work on a special portfolio for 𝘠𝘭𝘭𝘰. I know. Yeah, the 𝘠𝘭𝘭𝘰 animated thing. I already applied to one thing, but I want to make concept art. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing. Let me see if it looks good, like the video and everything. Oh, it looks bad actually. The mistake of Krita is that it doesn't really select the keyframe that it is. I'll need to render it once again. I don't like it. So it basically cut it like some frames from the last part. Now I'm gonna check out this. that so loud?
Misty eye of the mountain below.
There you go. That's better.
Keep careful watch of my brother's soul. And should the sky be filled with fire and smoke, keep watching over during the sun. This is to end fire, and we shall all burn together. Watch the flames climb high into the night. Call them out, Father. Stand by and we will watch the flames burn all along the mountainside. And if we should die tonight, we should all die together. Raise a glass of wine for the last time. Golden out, Father. Prepare us, we will watch the flames burn all along the mountainside. Desolation comes upon the sky, and I see fire inside the mountain. I see fire burning the trees, and I see fire hollow in soul. I see fire blood in the breeze, and I hope that you remember me.
𝘮𝘰𝘮𝘬𝘭𝘭𝘰.
Surely I'll do the same. Come find the mountain holds me. Got too close to the flame. Calling out, Father. Hold fast and we will watch the flames burn all along the mountainside. Desolation
Yeah, which of these things has copyright? the little feet. So the idea is that Gaston has this kind of form, but I also need to determine how the form is gonna be, like the distance and everything.
Like the wounds finally starting to heal. How long till it feels like I'm more than a spoken wheel? Most nights I feel that I'm not enough. I've had my share of Monday mornings when I can't get up. But when hope is lost and I come undone, I swear to God I'll survive. If it kills me too, I'm gonna get up and try. If it's the last thing I do, I still got something to give.
Though it hurts sometimes.
How long till you know that in truth you know nothing at all? How far will you go to get back to the place you belong? Most nights I feel that I'm not enough, but I refuse to spend my best years rotting in the sun. So when hope is lost and I come undone, I swear to God I'll survive. If it kills me too, I'm gonna get up and try. If it's the last thing I do, I still got something to give. Oh, it hurts sometimes. I'm gonna get up and live until the day that I die. I swear to God I'll survive. I swear to God I'll survive. I swear to God I'll survive. If it kills me too, I'm gonna get up and try. If it's the last thing I do, I still got something to give. Oh, it hurts sometimes. I'm gonna get up and live until the day that I die. I swear to God I'll survive. Talking to the sunset, throwing dreams against the wall.
Hmm.
We were California dreaming, all lost in that car. Didn't have a bed to sleep in. We kept each other warm under a sea full of stars. These days, these nights, changing my heart, my mind. Set on I got no face to say it, to say I do. I choose us every time. You know I will carry you home, whether it's tonight or 55 years down the road. I don't want to die or fade away. I just wanna be someone. I just wanna be someone. Dive and disappear without a trace. I just wanna be
And this whole thing is gonna be a concept art. And if you feel pretty divided, I wanna be the one you guided, that you can lead the way. I just wanna be somebody to someone. Oh, I wanna be somebody to someone. Oh, I never had nobody and no road home. Somebody to someone. And if the sun starts setting, the sky goes cold. And if the clouds get heavy and start to fall, be somebody to call my own. I wanna be somebody to someone.
I'll make the moon shine just for you. I'll make the starlight cycle through.
Beautiful zombie lady, the only one that I adore.
I will fight for you. I always do until my heart is black and blue. I will stay. I will stay with you. We'll make it to the other side, like lovers do. I'll reach my hands out in the dark and wait for yours to enter like I wait for you. I'll wait for you.
Even when they say there's nothing left. So don't give up on me. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up, no, no. Even when nobody else believes, I'm not going down that easily. So don't give up on me.
I will fight for you. I always do until my heart is black and blue.
Okay, guys, so it's time for a break. I'm gonna explain real quick what I'm doing. So I wanna apply to a concept art to the @𝘏𝘚𝘚 project. Yes, I have given up, and I just really want to. I want to try it out. That's the thing. I am not really like threatened or fighting against the @𝘏𝘚𝘚 content. I just don't like the whole mess that happens behind. That's the whole thing I don't like. But yeah, right now I'm doing Chicky and Gaston, which are my little kitties. I'm using them as reference, and to be honest, the art style of @𝑘 Animated, it's totally, I would say, quote unquote, Disney looking, or even close to Wolfwalkers. So it's really easy to do instead of the anime stuff that I do. So yeah, this is what we're doing. I'm making a concept art of my own cats. And trying to make it as raw and sketchy as possible to make it look like their own job or their own stuff. And also make it as simple as possible. Because, for example, we have this. And so Shiki is really tiny, like really, really tiny. So she has this big Asian looking eyes, but also really tiny mouth. And I need to find a way to adjust that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just follow this sketch because it's the best one. So yeah, thank you. Thank you, Hope. Now, I wanna find like another song, another music. This is not a time. It's time to say goodbye until we meet again. 'Cause this is not the end. It will come a day. We will find a way. Violins playing and the angels crying. When the stars align, then I'll be there. No one will care about the love. 'Cause all I want is to be loved. When all I I need a photo of Shiki. I need to see her face. I'm taking it cool. Is all that I've got. I'm literally looking at Shiki right now.
Don't say this, don't say that. I'm not playing by the rules if they were made by you. I won't break just like that. I'll make my own mistakes till I'm wrong and all the right way. Save all your tears, you don't wanna waste them on me. I'm not gonna be just like them. This is just the way that I am. Head in the clouds, I don't look into the crowd. Baby, this all making perfect sense, 'cause this is who I am, who I am. Don't say this, don't say that. I'm not playing by the rules if they were made by you. I won't break just like that. I'll make my own mistakes till I'm wrong in all the right ways. Save all your tears, you don't wanna waste them on me. I'm not gonna be just like them. This is just the way that I am. Head in the clouds, I don't look into the crowd. Maybe this will make it perfect sense, 'cause this is who I am, who I am.
Hello! Now, speaking of the devil, literally Gaston and Shiki are here. Hello! Welcome! Gaston! Hello! Hola, Gaston! Hola, Shiki. If I got locked away and we lost it all today, tell me honestly, would you still love me the same? If I show you my flaws, if I couldn't be strong, tell me honestly, would you still love me the same? You sit by my side. Baby, I need reference. Come here. Come here, baby. I need to see your elbows, your everything. Okay. I see now. I see. They're like little masses. They don't really have such a perfect body as we must believe. Shiki the Queen, welcome. I just hello. If I got locked away and we lost it all today, tell me honestly, would you still love me the same? If I show you my flaws, if I couldn't be strong, tell me honestly, would you still love me the same? Did you want it? Tell me that you want it. It's so funny that Shika's actually this hyperactive. I actually need to check out the references. I need the references from WordCats. The question is, where have I left it? I'm gonna use the White Storm one. Don't wonder why I was so happy when I was younger. But still, gonna change the whole theme. Okay, what's the next one? That's alright. Speaking of the devil, hello Shiki. Olha, meu amor, comenta pra cá. As you pull the rug, time to take away my sanity. Baby, that ain't for me, that ain't for me. Oh no, more thinking about you late night. More rolling around with your friends now. I'm taking the pieces of my soul above the floor. When I show you the door, show you the door. But tonight I saved my life. I said I would die for you, baby, but I can't take this pain no more. I thought I was willing, but tonight I saved my life when I show you the door. Don't wanna lose you, baby, but I can't take this pain no more. I thought I was serious. Tonight I saved my life when I show you the door. Gaston literally just said, "Stop thinking, little one. You will not get anything about what you just heard." So, Shiki is the kind of creature that just goes with action. And as you may know, she gets easily tired too. But the thing is, she's always just thinking in her own stuff. She's sometimes even lost. Gaston, do you have big paws? Oh, you have tiny paws. Okay, cool, thank you. So he's a Siamese, so his paws are not really that big. Your favorite point of view. Now you're waiting in the distance, just like you always do.
Just like you always do. Already pulling me in, already under my skin, and I know exactly how this ends. I let you cut me open just to watch me bleed. Gave up who I am for who you wanted me to be. Don't know why I'm hoping for what I won't receive. Falling for the promise of the emptiness machine. The emptiness machine. Going around like a revolver. It's been decided how we lose. 'Cause there's a fire under the altar. I keep on lying to, I keep on lying to. Already pulling me in, already under my skin, and I know exactly how this ends. I let you cut me open just to watch me bleed. Gave up who I am for who you wanted me to be. Don't know why I'm hoping what I won't say. Falling for the promise of the emptiness machine. I only wanted to be part of something. I only wanted to be part of, part of. I only wanted to be part of something. I only wanted to be part of, part of. I only wanted to be part of something. I only wanted to be part of. Open just to watch me bleed. Gave up who I am for who you wanted me to be. Don't know why I'm hoping so fucking naive. Falling for the promise of the emptiness machine. The emptiness machine. I let it fall, my heart, and as it fell, you rose to claim it. It was dark, and I was over, until you kissed my lips on the statement. My hands still strong, but my knees will fall too deep to stand in your arms without falling to your feet. But there's a side to you that I never knew. All the things you say they were never true, never true. And the games you played, you would always win, always win. But I set fire to the rain, watched it pour like desert flames. Waiting for a cry, 'cause I heard it screaming out your name, your name. With you, I could stay there, close my eyes, feel you here forever. You and me together, nothing is better. 'Cause there's a side to you that I never knew. All the things you say they were never true, never true. And the
What happens here?
game you would always win, always win.
Okay, cool. Okay, Shiki is more like a tiny little kitty. It's like a combination between Leafpool, Holly. No, what's her name? Ah, my gosh, Spotted Leaf, and Ravenpaw. And Gaston is more like this guy. The rain deeper as I touch your face. Storm, one of my favorite water cats other than Longtail. Yes, I love them so much too. There's something odd with this. Nah, I need a reference. I mean, I had the idea, but I need a reference. So the thing is, I do want to make her run because she's always an active one. Like a really hyperactive one.
I'm sorry, but don't wanna talk. I need a moment before I go. It's nothing personal. I draw the blinds. They don't need to see me cry. 'Cause even if they understand, they don't understand. Something when I'm finished, I'm all about my business and ready to save the world. I'm taking my misery, making my bitch can be everyone's favorite girl. So taking my fire away. I've never been so wide awake. No, nobody but me can keep me safe. And I'm on my way. The moon is on the rise. The fire burning in my eyes. No, nobody but me can keep me safe. And I'm on my way.
Lo siento mucho, pero me voy. Porque a tu lado me di cuenta que nada soy. Y me cansé de luchar y de guerra alemán, de estar en la línea de fuego y de meter la mano. Acepto mis errores, también soy humano. Y tú no ves que lo hago porque te amo. Pero ya no tengo más nada que hacer aquí. Me voy, llegó la hora de partir. De mi propio camino seguir lejos de ti.
So taking my fire away. I've never been so wide awake.
trying to find a way to make her face just like this. Oh, she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho, and now she's screaming, oh, mama.
Extraordinary archaeological discoveries may very well change our history books as we know them. Posters on the wall, praying we're the ones that the teacher wouldn't call. We would stare at each other, cause we were always in trouble. And all the cool kids did their own thing. I was on the outside, always looking in. Yeah, I was there, but I wasn't. They never really cared if I wasn't. We all need that someone who gets you like no one else, right when you need it the most. We all need a soul to rely on, a shoulder to cry on, a friend through the highs and the lows. I'm not gonna make it alone. I'm not gonna make it
Okay, there we go. That's so cute. Oh my goodness. So I've been here hours. Nice. From the other side. Okay, cool. So I really love all the references I've got from Wire Cats. But the thing is, Shiki is just like a tiny little ball, or almost like a pear kind of form cat. Gaston is a really muscular, elegant Siamese cat, and Bellucci is literally just really big and fluffy kitty. So yeah, these are the sketches I made for today. I think I'm gonna continue later on, but first I need to edit my map art, make it finished. It's super cute, yeah. Yeah, Gaston is literally just... Gaston and Peluche are like the big siblings of this little one. And Gaston is always playing with her. Right now she's with me. But yeah, she's like always just taken care by the older siblings. So it would be really cool to make an actual page of the actual like design and expressions of this stream. So yeah, I want to make it more simple, but I think this style right here, this one and this one are quite close enough. This one here is more like a cartoonish, sketchy one. But yeah, I'm still looking forward for the actual expressions and the geometry behind this. So yeah, like everything's connected now that I think about it. There are like straight lines almost every time. Well, in this case, this is White Storm, of course. Now I will open another one, like maybe Spotted Leaf. For instance, Tiger Star is really cool. Well, Tiger Claw, haha. Spotted Leaf is like... is actually like my kitty. Oh, Longtail is pretty cool. But yeah, I would like to make like kind of fan art of White Storm and Spotted Leaf because the most complex character. So let me just open that one. As you can see, she's the most complicated one. Oh my. Why is this style so familiar for some reason? I wonder who cleaned this. But I'm just seeing an artist in that style. This is another style. It's so funny that the actual whole the leaf is... the whole sketches are just different styles because everyone struggles with this design probably. Okay, this turnaround was made by just one person, I presume. It's pretty great, I would say. Really love it. The tail. Without the tail. Little paws. That's pretty cool. I really love how White Storm turned out because the truth is he is actually the son of 𝘲𝘴, and we have to remember that 𝘲𝘴 was really evil. And I really love that it's so loyal to what his father used to look like, just with those yellow eyes and that white majority of the part, you know? And I really love that they only use 3 colors, like the space gray, then the dark gray. It's so much better this way. Like, it's not completely white, but it gives the idea that his father was 𝘲𝘴. And even though he might look malicious, he's actually quite the most gentleman that I could ever known in the Warcats kind of stories. Now, Tiger Claw is really cool too. I need to check that out. Let's see Tiger Claw. Tiger Claw was my favorite design so far. It looks like a Siamese, but in truth is actually Now, this really surprised me because I never knew that they were actually that close. Like, close friends. 𝘬𝘁𝘁 and Lionheart. But it seems like 𝘬𝘁𝘁, although he was really ambitious, he was or used to be really good friends with Lionheart and White Storm. I just haven't really read anything about them. But yeah, I really love this whole dominant body building. It's really cool. Like, this is only the perspective that makes it look different, but the whole chest and the whole character itself is so good looking. Okay, I'm giving myself ideas though. Long tail, now Rusty. That's a really important one. Yeah, Rusty is the huge one. Okay, sorry, no! No, this is 𝘬𝘁𝘁. Oh yes, okay. Rusty is the most complex character for many of us. Because of the stripes, maybe? Let's see what we have. So the protagonist of Rusty, or Firepaw. Oh my gosh, I really love how they just order this. So I love the idea that they guide you with this even. I see. Ah, so it needs to look like fire. Okay. I see, I see. This whole expression. It's pretty cool. I do imagine him with his face like, oh my gosh, Grey Stripe, what have you done? Or Grey Palm. Oh, I see, I see. So this is Rusty and Firepaw itself. I imagine when he grows up, he gets like a little bit more fluffy. And I really love the idea that they just keep this thing of making him more like an orange/brownish cat rather than an actual ginger kind of cat or orange cat. Really love that. The geometrization is helpful. It actually is. Especially because of the whole movements and animation. Really love that. What else do we have? Keep tail full, avoid sharp point. Sharp points? What do you mean sharp points? Sharp point. This one? Okay. Okay, I see. Yeah, not to make it like this way, but more like a fluffy way. Okay. The cranium is so cool. Alright. Yeah. It's really good looking, I would say. I'm close. This one is the closest. This one and this one probably. But I need to make sure how to like establish the head and everything in its place. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna leave for now, guys, but it was really fun all this time. We finished this map part, so I'm gonna make my best to publish it as soon as I can once the video is done. Thank you for coming, and it was real fun. Now I'll see you in the next time. And if you wonder when am I gonna be active, just remember that I'm more active on Instagram. So go and take a look to my Instagram. So yeah, see you. Bye bye.